Some neighbors borrow sugar. Others borrow tools. But HOA Karen? She decided to borrow my garden hose every single day without asking. Now, I wouldn't have minded if she'd asked politely. I'm not unreasonable. But Karen is the type who believes everything in the neighborhood somehow belongs to her because she's HOA president. She has this attitude that if it's within eyesight of her property, it's hers. And she loved my industrial-grade garden hose. I first noticed when my water bill shot up, hundreds of gallons gone in a week. I checked for leaks, inspected the irrigation system, nothing. Until one afternoon I pulled into my driveway early and caught Karen in the act. Standing in her yard with my hose, watering her plants like it was her personal supply line. "Karen?" I called out. "That's my hose." She didn't even flinch. So, the HOA requires all homes to maintain healthy lawns. Be grateful your water is helping the community. Couldn't believe it. That's theft. You didn't even ask. Karen smirked. You should be glad I didn't fine you for leaving it outside. If you didn't want people using it, you should lock it up. That's when I realized logic wasn't going to work. Karen thought she was untouchable. So I hatched a plan. The next morning, I went to the hardware store and bought a large jug of liquid fertilizer concentrate. The smelliest, stickiest kind I could find. It's totally safe for plants, but it reeks like rotting fish and sticks to everything it touches. Then, with a little plumbing tape and some creativity, I hooked the jug into the connection line of my hose. That way, whenever someone turned it on without switching valves, the first gush would spray nothing but foul, slimy fertilizer water. And then I waited. It didn't take long. That evening, I peeked through my blinds and saw Karen marching over, bold as ever, grabbing my hose like she owned it. She dragged it across her lawn, pointed it at her prized rose bushes, and cranked the nozzle. PSSSHHH. Out blasted a thick, brown stream of fertilizer straight onto her clothes, her arms, and her flowers. She shrieked, dropping the hose as the stench filled the air. The stuff splattered all over her designer outfit, and within seconds she smelled like a fish market in July. I nearly fell over laughing. She stomped around, screaming that her plants were ruined and that I had sabotaged her property. I calmly walked outside and said, "Karen, why were you on my property using my hose without permission?" She froze, covered in sludge. Neighbors had come out by then, snickering behind their fences. I was just checking the connection," she stammered. "Sure," I said, holding up my phone. "My security cameras say otherwise. This is theft and trespassing. Do it again and I'll hand it to the sheriff." Word spread fast. Karen's humiliation became neighborhood legend. The HOA board couldn't spin it, they had video proof of her stealing water. She stopped touching my hose after that, and suddenly all those mandatory lawn inspections she used to send my way stopped too. As for her roses, let's just say fertilizer water didn't kill them. It made them bloom bigger than ever. And every time she looks at them now, I hope she remembers the day she learned the hard way that not everything in the neighborhood belongs to her. My water bill went back to normal. My hose stayed right where it belonged. And Karen? She stayed far, far away from it. Because sometimes revenge doesn't have to be poisonous. It just has to stink enough to keep the pests away.